So the SCO meet is currently underway. Prime Minister Modi addressed the SCO leaders. Currently, Russian President Vladimir Putin is speaking at the meeting. So President Xi Jinping was the first one to address the leaders, and Prime Minister Modi had also addressed the plenary session of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which is currently underway. These are the visuals of the meeting, and you can see all the SCO leaders over there. Prime Minister Modi already addressed the SCO leaders, and currently Russian President Vladimir Putin is addressing the leaders. But what has grabbed everybody's eyeballs is the visuals that came right before the meeting started, which are currently on your screens right now. It is Prime Minister Modi with Vladimir Putin, and also Chinese President Xi Jinping welcoming the two leaders at the meeting venue when they had this quick conversation. These are the visuals on your screens right now, and these are the powerful visuals that everybody has been waiting for since the SCO summit began. This is the Troika that we have been talking about: Russia, India, China, the three powerful leaders together. Now, it is also pertinent to note that there are another set of visuals of Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif also being present at the venue, right at this spot where these three leaders were having a quick chat. And he stared on the leaders. As you can see in the visuals, he's standing at the back, seeing Prime Minister Modi with Vladimir Putin. So indeed, a strong message to Pakistan as well as the West also. Gaurav continues to stay with us. Gaurav, we're just an hour away from the much anticipated bilateral between India and Russia. What all is on the agenda? What are the key issues that will be discussed in this meeting?
So Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Russian President Vladimir Putin will review their relationship. The overall relationship between the two countries will be reviewed when they meet. It's not a very long meeting. It's after the main Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit will the two leaders meet, and an overall review. An invitation, of course, has already been extended to President Putin to visit India. He is visiting India in December this year for the annual strategic bilateral summit. Point 2, point 3, global issues, regional issues, bilateral issues, a quick review of that. When it comes to military and strategic ties between the two countries, there's some conversation that's happening at the levels of our bureaucrats, our diplomats, our generals. It will gradually be escalated, and perhaps when President Putin comes, we will have an agreement on certain defense procurement and high-tech defense procurement. Not just procurement of military technology, but transfer of technology, manufacture in India with full, Make in India, including from what sources are telling India today. The conversation is on even intellectual property rights for manufacture coming to India in certain aspects, so that we can manufacture and then export. So joint manufacture, quite like the BrahMos supersonic cruise missile, co-developed by India and Russia, funded by India, but manufactured in India and then exported to a third country. Those are some of the areas that India and Russia are right now in some instances exploring, in some cases in advanced stages of negotiations for those technologies to come to India, and that will hold India in good stead. Remember, these dedicated defense corridors that are coming up in various parts of our country, and especially when you have a BrahMos ecosystem or an industry coming up in Uttar Pradesh. There's one coming up in Tamil Nadu. So in both these sectors, there's talk of more Russian cooperation for more Russian military technology to come to India.
Right, Gaurav, as we were also discussing about Vladimir Putin's visit to India in December, and as we were also discussing that a big announcement could be expected at that time. So can today's meeting lay the groundwork for the big announcements that can be expected in the meeting scheduled later this year?
So some of it would be reviewed at the summit level, because when you have the heads of state and government, and right now you have the president of Iran who's speaking, again becomes very significant. Iran is a country that's been facing immense sanctions from the West, but Iran is a country that's maintained great relations with Russia, with China, with India, again, when President Masoud Pezeshkian, and I'll once again take you back to the Kazan summit, just as he was sworn in as President of Iran, he came to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's hotel to meet him. They had an extensive interaction, and again, India and Iran have had civilizational ties, very close civilizational ties, very good people-to-people cooperation, a relationship that's held both Iran and India in good stead, and India has stood by Iran. Now, it's only when sanctions were imposed on Iran that India reduced and then curtailed oil procurement. However, again, this is the relationship that India and Iran have both treasured. So you have the Iranian president who's currently speaking. Even when this crisis happened, India repeatedly kept in touch with the leadership in Iran. So when you look at even the Shanghai Cooperation Organization as a bloc, historically, India has had very, very strong relations with the multiple member countries of the SCO. And this is a relationship. Like even yesterday evening, you saw how warmly various heads of state and government were interacting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. In fact, when he was talking to the Prime Minister of Egypt, he recalled his visit to Egypt, the conversations that he had in Egypt. Again, very strong civilizational ties that India and Egypt have had historically and civilizationally is something that both the countries have talked about. His interaction with leaders from various parts of the Eurasian bloc, from Kazakhstan to Kyrgyzstan to Uzbekistan to Tajikistan. The Prime Minister has talked about historical and civilizational relations from those times, and how the North-South corridor, the Chabahar port, the North-South corridor, all of that India is trying to increase our cooperation with. And why? Trade, energy. Now that's the fuel that is fueling the relationship between India and the region.